Do you like what we do here? I would assume so if you're listening to this. We have had a good year for growth this year. We've had substantial growth on all the podcast feeds with new subscribers. We have the new YouTube channel with a bunch of new subscribers there too. But we want to carry this over into 2026 so we can continue to provide high quality entertainment, high quality news, high quality reviews, and all that kind of stuff. So what we're asking for going into next year is, if you have the ability, we're not asking for a lot, you can donate. Go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and make a donation. Everything you do goes towards making sure we can do things. That way I can take days off work to go and cover things early, or, things of that nature. Go to events and talk about them early, see advanced screenings. All that stuff goes into that budget. On top of that, if you can't afford that, and I realize right now things are tough and things are rough out there. If you can't afford that, the easiest thing you can do is subscribe and rate. No matter what you use to get this podcast, you can subscribe. Just hit the follow button, hit subscribe, whatever the button is on your thing, and then rate us. Give us 5 stars. That'll help more people find us, and the more people find us, the more we can, the more we'll be able to do, and we'll be able to get more happening. You can also go to mwpnews.com and sign up for our newsletter. There we will have articles and stuff like that about what we cover on this show. And we will also be doing more gaming content on the YouTube channel. If we can get, with more subscribers on there, we can do more. And that's youtube.com/@MWPnews. And again, thank you for a great year for us. Next year will be better. One of the big issues that I had this year that preempted me from doing a lot of what I wanted to has been resolved with the issue with my car, and that issue has been resolved. So going into this next year, we should be a lot more smooth sailing, but we do need your help to get more people listening and get what we're doing here out there. So just subscribe, tell your friends, and if you have the ability to, and you have the money, and you want to, and you think we're doing a good job, and we've earned that, go to ko-fi.com/MWP News and throw us whatever you think we deserve. And thank you, and enjoy this episode. Good evening and welcome to the Backlog Files. I am Adam. It is Tuesday. I'm recording this late. We had a blizzard yesterday. I usually record these on my way to work, and we had a blizzard yesterday. So I didn't go to work because, blizzard. I'm not... one of the things that I firmly believe in, and if anyone in here is early in their career or anything like that, I feel like this is information you should hear. No job is worth dying for. And I mean, dying for the sake of the job, getting to work or anything like that. There are, never mind. The point is, especially, if you're not putting your life on the line in what you're doing, it's not worth it, because you'll just be replaced within a week anyway. So, the point I'm trying to make is, didn't go to work. The office was closed. I think that was more, people were like, well, I'm not fucking coming in. Point is, what we're here to talk about is Sonic and Shadow Generations, which I finally played. I got a gift card for Christmas. I used it, bought this game, and I don't know. I like Sonic Generations. I would say there's a case to be made. It's the best Sonic game in the last, let's say, 20 years. Going back to even further back than that. I would say it's better than Heroes. I would say, like, it's better than everything since '06. So that's 20 years right there. I would say it's better than Heroes, and no, you know what? No, it's not. And let me explain why. I remember playing this game on the Xbox 360, rest in peace Xbox, and I really enjoyed it, when this game came out 10 years ago, 15 years ago, whatever the fuck it was that it came out. I played it, I enjoyed it, it was fun, cool. The problem is, I have a fundamental disconnect when it comes to this game, namely the fact that, like, if you play Sonic Adventure or Sonic Adventure 2, which you can. They are available to buy and play, or, among other ways, you can play these games. And I think there's a chance that we do get them later this year on Switch Online, on the GameCube section. But the point is, like, you when you play these games, the gameplay feels right. Going from that to Generations, Generations doesn't feel right when you play it. The control scheme is a little bit, funky. Everything's a little bit more floaty. There's a lot less friction. You can't turn on a dime, which I guess is more realistic, but, like, it doesn't handle well. And it's not until you do, like, you don't really notice it when you're playing the early Sonic levels. Because, like, the early Sonic levels function well enough. Because, when you do Green Hill Zone or Chemical Plant, and you're going through, like, the modern version of that, you're like, oh, okay, this is just, it's an aesthetic theme, but, the classic Sonic version of these courses work. Like, they work well enough. I mean, it's fine. There's no issue with them. The problem comes in when you try to do the not classic Sonic version, the S2 version, or what we call the modern Sonic version. And it's like, you don't really notice it there because it's like, oh, okay, well, these are levels that we never really played in this format. When you go in and you do the city level from Adventure, or the first beach level from and by the way, that was a weird choice for that level, because, like, the thing is, it's like when you look at, like, that batch, and then, like, even going into later ones where it's like, that city and again the city, it's like I would have picked, like, it's so weird that in this base game, there's no casino level, considering that, like, every fucking Sonic game has a casino level. Like, that's what you should have got. Like, obviously City Escape is the iconic level from Sonic, from Sonic Adventure 2. Like, obviously that's what you're going to go with. But, like, why wouldn't you go with the casino from Adventure? Or, like, Windy Highway from Adventure? Or the one, like, late in the game, not the Death Egg, but, like, the one that's, like, in the ruins from that game. Like, that works, that would have made more sense to me. And it's like, fundamentally, what I'm missing about this is this idea that, like, you picked a weird selection of levels, and then when you're playing these levels in modern mode, which is supposed to be closer to, and it's not exact because boost is a thing and all of that, but, like, this is designed to be closer to the experience of what it would have been playing this game when it came out. It doesn't handle right. And the fact that you can't move as easily is a little bit of an issue. That said, I think the aesthetics of a lot of these levels really do work well. I think they leveled up the aesthetic of a bunch of these, and it's like, if we did this now, this is how it would feel and look, and okay, that's fine. Some levels that works better than others, and then also, like, I never played Colors or Unleashed or '06. So that whole final batch I'm not really familiar with. But okay, they all work, and it's like, I don't know, I just feel like a lot of them don't quite, lend themselves to it. And I think the other thing is some of the levels just become so long as the game goes on. It's like, why the fuck is this level so long? And then you get into the repetitive nature of, like, finishing the game. there are so many side missions and all of that. And what this is to do is to point out the issues that plague Generations. And I think Generations was well received in its time, I know by me at least, because it was a good Sonic game and hadn't been a good Sonic game in quite some time. Let's talk about Shadow Generations, which is Shadow's story. And I think the thing that gets lost here in this is that this is the game, this is how they would have made Sonic Generations if they were doing it now. This is the world layout, this is how, like, all of that game just screams, if we were making this game now, this is how it would look. And we didn't make it this way at the time, but now that we are doing it, this is how we would have wanted it to look. The big open hub world that you can unlock stuff and all of that. Do I think they did a great job of kind of laying out the stuff for the moveset? Not really. Probably could have used a little bit more tinkering, but what are you going to do? The issue I have with this kind of... Oh, I'm tired. Kind of fundamentally is it feels divorced from Sonic Generations. It feels like they wanted to do a Shadow game and we're like, well, how do we do this? Okay, well, let's take Generations and do something similar, and we'll do the Shadow with the Herald of Galactus story, and it's like, okay, cool, but like, what do you, like, I think that there's not enough deviation from that. They don't give a good reason why Act 1 and Act 2 are different. At least with Sonic, there was a reason for it. I would have rather they just doubled up on levels from worlds, and it's like, this time period it's this one, this time period it's this one, this time period it's this one. Would have rather that. It's just unfortunate that they didn't do that. And ultimately what the game devolves into is a collectathon on both ends. The story is a lot darker and a lot deeper on Shadow's end. It really fleshes out the lore of Shadow a little bit more. I appreciate that. The Sonic one really does feel like an anniversary collected edition, and with a light story kind of threading through it. The Shadow story feels more dense, but I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I just would have rather that we got, I would have rather, if you're going to do this ground up redo, Generations to match. Like, just porting Generations and being like, oh, and then there's the Shadow game. Like, I think the smarter move would have been for them to do kind of like Miles Morales, the Spider-Man Miles Morales game from 2020, I think it was, where it's like, yeah, if you buy a PS5, we have this new Miles Morales game, and this is us, it's a chance for us to get used to using the new engine, and we're going to show off how we can, how we're going to do our, how we're going to play, how we're going to play this environment, and what the next gen power is going to look like for us. And then also, like, we have this Miles Morales game, and Miles is going to play differently than Peter Parker, and so you're going to play with that. And then also, there's also a remastered edition of Spider-Man, which is included in that. And I feel like that probably would have been the better way to advertise this. Call it Shadow Generations, like it's Shadow Generations, and then also like, oh, and by the way, there's an HD upscale of Sonic Generations included in this. Calling it Sonic Generations and then and Shadow's here feels weird. But neither game is particularly long, and that's the other thing I really come back to, is that it's like, I bought this game for $25. I feel like that was the right price to pay for this. I think full retail is $60. I could not imagine paying that for this game. I feel like I got my money's worth out of it, especially if you've already played Sonic Generations, because it is exactly the same game. The only thing I really enjoyed that I think was like they did a great job upgrading one to the other is, I think, the Bio-Lizard fight that you do with Shadow. The Bio-Lizard fight in Sonic Adventure 2 is one of the more tedious boss fights. It's not the most tedious, because I would say like most tedious is probably the Ghost. or the golem you got to fight on 2 separate occasions, or the final fight between Eggman and Tails on both sides of that equation, where they can use their super weapon from 2-player mode, but you can't, and it's a small confined space. We're not going to get into that. But the point is, it's like, it's not the most, but it's definitely in the conversation of most annoying, because it's just kind of weirdly laid out, and you have to go around this circle, and the homing attack isn't perfect. Here they've perfected a lot of those mechanics, and those are the mechanics that do work in this game, like the idea of like being able to, you know, zip around makes sense. But like, God, that one worked so much better in this version. It felt more like an actual boss fight. It felt more, you know, more epic, and I think that was a better move. I just can't for the life of me figure out why. It's like, why did you do generically Space Colony Arc as the first world? I get that it's Sonic Adventure 2 and that's Shadow's first appearance, but why would, like, I understand doing 2 different versions of that are not great, particularly because I don't look at the end of Adventure 2 and be like, the better version of this outdoor space stage is the Shadow version. And the thing is, it's like, they do kind of integrate a lot of things from the various versions, but they do integrate in, like, I mean, obviously the Shadow version has those spinning things that you have to run up in a circle. But the other thing is, like, they also integrate in, like, the platforms that go sideways from, like, Crazy Gadget. And the bigger issue that I have with this is that, why is it that you don't do one of that? Because the thing with Shadow is, Shadow only has one level there. Shadow's levels in Adventure 2 are the jungle, the rail area, which is like the nighttime version of the daytime version of Pumpkin Hill, Radical Highway, which is the level that everyone remembers, and the worst version of the space level. So, like, to say, like, oh, well, Space Colony Arc, I get narratively he starts from a Space Colony Arc, and that's why that is, and it's like, for whatever reason, he goes back and forth between the real world and white space. My thing with this is just like, why not do one of that and then one of Radical Highway? Because, like, when people think of Shadow levels in Sonic Adventure 2, they think of Radical Highway. And again, it's like, you have this opportunity to put in a casino level, because you do, you do Heroes, because he's the main character in Heroes. But, like, why is it that in Sonic Heroes you choose the rail yard level? Like, the rail yard level is not the one that or really anyone really, you know, cares about. Like, obviously you're not going to do the beach one again, but you can do the city. The city's another one that everyone remembers. There's the casino level that's, you know, just fantastic from an aesthetic standpoint. Like, it's just, there were so many other things you could have done that it's like, why do 2 versions of, and I get why, it's we can reuse the assets, but, like, it just feels like it's missing something. Well, the way I end up feeling about this is that it's like, I feel like I'm short something on the Shadow version. It's enjoyable, it handles as well as Sonic Generations, but there's just a little something missing. And it's a shame that that little something is missing. I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but there's just something that is needed that is not there. But yeah, we will wrap up there for today. I would say this is a 3-star game. If you're a Sonic fan, it's probably a 4-star game. But I think at this point, if you wanted to play it, you probably did. I don't think there's anything really here that really does that. And it's like, look, if you're going to go through these lengths and you're going to do this, you should go throw back the Chao Garden. And I get that, like, you know, the thing that, like, the person at Sony said was like, oh, well, the Chao Garden is baked into the gameplay mechanics of Adventure and Adventure 2. Okay, that's fine, because yes, you need to collect the animals, and the animals get collected, and then you bring them in, and then that's baked in, and like, I get that. But there's really nothing in this game that prevents that from being a thing, where it's like, you could have the drives, you could have the animals. Like, there's nothing here that really prevents that, and I'm not entirely sure why it is that this is a hard line in the sand you can't cross. This would have been the perfect game for it. If you're trying to sell the nostalgia, it's like, that's the thing a lot of people remember. to the point that there are now, like, you know, mobile, like, slop games that are just like, hey, we did the chow races as a mobile slop game. Like, you can play this, watch like 15 ads, then do another race. Like, the fact that that exists should tell you something. You can do this, and people will, you know, go and play that. I'm just kind of baffled as to why are we at this point now? Like, why are we at this point where it's like you're just re-releasing the same game? But we'll wrap up there for today. Like I said, 3, 4 if you're a Sonic fan. And our next episode we'll have another game next week. Although later this week, on Friday, it's Pokemon Day. I have already pre-ordered Pokemon Fire Red for my Switch. We will be playing that, which is one of those things that we'll probably just Nuzlocke it, because, like, I haven't done a Fire Red, like, obviously it's on the Switch, so we can't mod it the way that I modded, you know, the randomized run for Red. But we will Nuzlocke it. I think that's probably a good move on our part. And that'll be up on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/@MWPNewsGaming. I spent a lot of time over this 2 days that I was stuck inside because of the snowstorm, getting a lot of shit pre-recorded for that YouTube channel. We have a full season of Madden we're going to be starting. I think that actually starts this week, next week. I think today, as I'm recording, I'm realizing I don't think I have anything scheduled to go up besides the Animal Crossing episode. Obviously, we have 2 new episodes of Animal Crossing that were pre-recorded. Obviously, we have, that, but we did a full playthrough of Scarlet. I rolled credits on that last night at like 1:30 in the morning because there are 2 battles that I lose, and I'm just like, why the fuck did I try that? I tried to go into the fight against Clive with like 2 like heavy hitters and 4 things that I was trying to level up, and then I tried to go into the fight against Sada at the end of the game, again with a similar situation. So now the next step we're going to be doing is completing the Pokédex, and I'm going to off stream import all of the Violet exclusives, just so I have them in the, in the game proper without having to worry about finding shit, without having to trade or anything. So I'll just grind that out off stream and then just import them all. Also the trade evolutions, that way I, again, don't want to have to deal with that bullshit. We also got through, like, we have a Nuzlocke going of Pokemon Shield. We have a Nuzlocke, we have a continuation of our Let's Go playthrough. I gotta record more of that, actually. Record more of the Let's Go playthrough, and I feel like there was another game. We might, we have the Madden, Let's Go. There's definitely something I'm forgetting. I don't know. We'll see. But we'll wrap up there for today. Until our next episode, have a great rest of your week.